It's been 7 weeks since we were last racing in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, but we are now back and ready to go racing once more in the 2023 season. Welcome everyone to the Red Bull Ring for round number 7 of the season. My name's Chris McCarthy. It's a pleasure to have your company as we go qualifying for the first race of the weekend. We have 3 new faces out there on the circuit, 1 returning, 4 rounds to go in total, and just 6 points between the top 2 in the championship. There you can see all our drivers lining up, getting ready to go. If you're new to the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, let me explain how qualifying works for you. Before the weekend has begun, we have split the drivers into 2 groups. Group A is filled with the drivers first, third, fifth, and so on in the championship, and Group B, second, fourth, sixth, and so on. For qualifying at practice 1 this session coming up, Group A will go out onto the circuit first for 15 minutes, then Group B will go out onto the circuit for 15 minutes. The quickest group will form the inside row of the grid, the slower group will form the outside row of the grid. For tomorrow, qualifying practice 2, the roles are reversed. Group A will be out first. Group B, sorry, will go out first. Group A will go out second. So here we can see the cars making their way out onto the circuit. Group A coming out for you, which will include our championship leader, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, Tim Tranitz, Rafael Camara, Matteo Capietto. Those just some of the names in the top 10 in the championship. Great to be back, great to see all the drivers again. As I said, we do have 3 new faces out there, 1 returning as well. Let me just go through the changes we have to the field for you. Hadrian David returning to the championship. Great to see him out there. He, the overall record holder when it comes to podium finishes in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. Drove a fantastic race here last year as well, winning on the Sunday from pole position, set the fastest lap of the weekend. He replaces Kirill Smau over at Monolith Racing this weekend. Then, new face, Jesse Calascado Jr. joins Van Amersfoort Racing. He has stepped in to replace Josh Dufek, and he will be in for the next 2 rounds at least. Then over at MP Motorsport, they welcome a new face in Bruno Del Pino. He has been racing in the Euro Cup 3 Championship this season. Great to have him with us. And William Carlson has joined KIC Motorsport as well. Another driver who has been racing in Euro Cup 3 and has now come over to race in Freca. Great to have him in the championship as well. Big grid, as always, over 30 cars out there in total. Not in this group, of course, we've split them into 2. They're our championship leader, Kimi Antonelli, Mercedes Jr. He is the one leading the way when it comes to points. Now, we have had 2 days of testing so far. Yesterday in the official collective test, Rafael Camara was quickest, leading a Prema 1-2 in the first test. The quickest time was a 1:26.484, 73 thousandths of a second quicker than teammate Kimi Antonelli. Kaz Havercourt, who took that memorable win here last year in the first race of the weekend. I'm sure many of you will remember that race. Mixed conditions, one of the only races I think we've ever had in the championship where we had lots of drivers coming in to make pit stops, including our leader, Paul Aron. It was a brilliant race and a really well thought out race by the Van Amersfoort team. Kaz Havercourt winning from 14th on the grid. He was 3rd quickest in the first collective test. Santiago Ramos was P4. Esteban Masson over at Santalok Racing was in 5th place. There was less than half a second between the top 16 drivers all the way down to Michael Belov. In the second collective test, times were a little bit slower. Sami Megatunov was quickest though, leading an MP Motorsport 1-2 ahead of Victor Bernier. Hadrian David for Monolith Racing was in 3rd. Tom Lebon in 4th place, and Joshua Dirksen in 5th. Esteban Masson in P6. Kaz Havercourt 7th, then Alessandro Giusti brilliant race for him at Paul Ricard before going into the summer break. Roman Belinsky 9th, Owen Tangavelu in P10. There we can see the cars making their way down. We saw the number 15 there of Sami Megatunif. I have to say, some of you would have seen on social media, Sami has redesigned his crash helmets in memory of Delano Vanthoff. A really nice design that Sami has gone and done a really nice tribute to a good friend and former teammate in Delano Vanthoff. A much needed summer break, I think, for the entire paddock. Everyone now back racing in his memory. He'll always be with us. And in the final 4 rounds now, Sami will wear that crash helmet. Really nice. If you haven't seen it, do go and check it out. But really nice tributes coming in. And Adam Fitzgerald also here as well to support the RPM team. Looks like he'll be back racing next year, but has come to support the RPM team, which has been really great to see. But everyone now back to race on. And 4 rounds to go in total. And that we will focus on. Here they come up towards turn number 6. Now, one thing that we do need to be wary of around this circuit is track limits. The biggest areas of offence were the last 2 corners. If you go 4 wheels over the curb, then you will get a track limits penalty. If you do it at the last corner, then the lap time that you are on will be deleted and your next lap as well. Speaking to people around the paddock yesterday, they seem to be under the impression that this is just going to be a 1 stint qualifying all the way to the finish. You can see we're under a process of warming up the tyres. Drivers on that lap were trying to find a bit of space, but it looks like we're going to do 1 more lap of tyre warming before we really go to get some first push laps in. Maybe this might actually be first flying laps, we'll call it as it is. So back down towards turn number 3, you can see some more weaving going on. So I think 1 more lap of maybe getting the tyres up to temperature, then we'll see the times coming in. You want to be in the 1:26s. Last year in qualifying 1 Group A, the quickest time was a 1:26.7. So if you can get in the mid to low 1:26s, you've got a very good chance of being right towards the sharp end. And we'll see on the first real flying laps next time around who is going to find themselves where. There's Joshua Dirksen in number 10. In terms of the top 10 in the championship, it looks like so. We talked about Kimi Antonelli and Stenchorn. Tim Tramnitz is 3rd, got himself behind the microphone, helping with the broadcast coverage of F2 and F3, which was great to see. Kaz Havercourt 4th, then Kamara. Ramos is in 6th place. Maceo Capietto 7th, doing a great job for the RPM team. Flusha in 8th, Dufek in 9th, but he has since stepped away from the championship. Sami Megatunif in P10, so opens up the door for some improvements as we come across the line. Sami Megatunif leading the way up towards the first corner here at the Red Bull Ring. Kimi Antonelli in chase, and behind that then looks like Maceo Capietto in the RPM car. There, the number 25 next in queue, which is Marcus Armand, the Sauber Academy driver, coming up towards turn number 3. Uphill braking zone, so you can really go late on the brakes into there, and easy to do a lock up, easy to go just a little bit too deep. Everyone wants to try and find a toe if they can, and Prema Racing trying to get themselves in order to do that. Rafael Kamara trying to chase after Kimi Antonelli. Ferrari Junior chasing Mercedes Junior as they come round towards turn number 6. Let's get some times on the board. Less than 7 minutes to go. Beautiful view we have here at Red Bull Ring, and a beautiful sound as all the cars make their way round in this first qualifying session of the second half of the season. This the run-in now to the end. Who is going to end as champion? Kimi Antonelli, the one currently leading the way. we'll want to start with a pole position. You've got to be within track limits. That was within track limits for Kamara. 4 wheels over the curb, and that would be an track limits offence and a lap deleted as we come across the line. Rafa Kamara goes fastest, 126.8. Kimi Antonelli in P2, Capietto goes third, then Sami Megatunov, Tim Tramnitz, Maya Berg, the quickest rookie so far. She is up to P6, Dirksen 7th, Hadrian David from Monolith Racing is 8th, then Armand Van Hoopen, Carrasquedo Jr., then we have Emo Fittipaldi Jr., Tangavelu, Giovanni Maschio, then Michael Beloff, Pierre Alexandra Provost. Just under a second between the top 14 as they make their way uphill now down towards turn number 4, less than 6 minutes on the clock, and going very quick on this lap is Joshua Dirksen in the number 10 Arden car. He is the quickest out on circuit on this lap. Must have got a good run coming down towards turn 3 in terms of a toe, because he was quickest through the speed trap as well. Let's have a look at a replay of Rafa Kamara. Ooh, on the edge there, coming up through Niki Lauda curve. Well controlled in the end. If you get the rear end out through there though, it will affect your run all the way up to turn 3, and that'll feel like a long run. A lot of these guys like Kamara, Antonelli will have experience racing around here in F4 last year. Coming down now to the final 2 corners. That seemed okay. Not many track limits coming up. Everyone seems to be behaving themselves in that sense as we come across the line, and Rafa Kamara improves, 126.4. Antonelli remaining second. What about Tim Tramnitz? He's gone up to provisional pole position. Great driving from Tramnitz, 126.4. Joshua Dirksen, did he improve in the end? Just trying to have a look. He's still down in 13th so far, but did do a really good first sector. Wasn't a good second and third one. So it's Tramnitz, Kamara, Antonelli, Capietto, David, Megatunov, Beloff, Tangavelu, Van Hoopen. Then come our rookie drivers, 4 of them, all in a line being led by Marcus Amart. Kamara improving on this lap. Tramnitz, the man in the middle of your picture there, the one leading, but Kamara is the one finding the most pace. Everyone seems to be improving. This is what we expected, just constant improvement throughout the session. That's what these Pirelli tyres offer these drivers, just to push all the way to the end in a session like this, which is great to see. Down through turn 7. You can see them just flicking the car to the right to try and open up that corner as much as possible. Once you know you're on a good lap now, it's just about getting downhill here while staying within those boundaries. Oh, and there we go. That might have just been over for Kamara, taking a lot of speed through there. Ahead of him, Antonelli's looking fast. Looks like he could improve. Let's see if he can go to provisional pole. He goes P2. Kamara improving, 126.1. What about Tramnitz? He goes second. So it's Kamara, Tramnitz, Antonelli. Hadrian David is P4. Let's have a look then. Oh, and then, well, his right rear might have just kept him on there. As long as part of the tyre is in contact with the curb, then that will be fine. So I think Kamara might just get away with that. It's about taking risks through areas like that sometimes. There we see Maya Berg in the 64. Kamara, I think, looking for a toe here. Going very well so far. Leading by just under 0.3 of a second. He slotted himself into position nicely. I wonder if it's just giving the tyres a bit of a break now to maybe go again for one more push. Pushing on is Megatunov and Capietto. Are they improving? Yes for Capietto, yes for Megatunov. We could see some improvements. Sami is improving. Currently in P10. Remember, this is for what row of the grid they would start on. Currently it would be row 10 for Megatunov. Capietto far too wide through there. That'll be a lap deletion. What about Capietto? What about Megatunov? Sorry, up ahead. Up to the line he comes, and he does improve. P4 for Sami Megatunov. So that puts him into the top 10 overall. Joshua Dirksen about to come over the line now and goes 8th place, but lap looks like it was deleted, was it? And he drops to 9th place. Down towards turn 3, Capietto tucked in behind Sami Megatunov. Great lap from the young Frenchman. The two countrymen making their way up through turn 3 now and down through turn 4. Are we seeing any other improvements out there? Hadrian David talking about French drivers is in the background there. He's improving on this lap as well. Dirksen, quickest through the speed trap, as I said. That still remains, and he's improving on this lap as well, as is Michael Belov, who is up to P5. So it's Kamara, Tramnitz, Antonelli, Megatunov, Belov, Capietto, Tangavello, Cadascado's going very well on what is his first qualifying session in this championship. Then Dirksen and David, who's clearly had a lap deleted, he's dropped down to P10. Coming down through turn 7, you've got to get yourself in position. They're going to be going for what will be their final laps. Michael Belov looking very good on this lap. Oh, Emo Fittipaldi running far too wide out of turn 6. Now coming up to the final 2 corners. Emo Fittipaldi tucked right in behind Giovanni Maschio as they make their way downhill. Antonelli we pick up now. Michael Belov goes up to P3. Good lap there from Michael Belov. Rafa Kamara still quickest though. What about Antonelli? Can he improve? He's now dropped to P4. Does not improve on that lap, but I think he was just setting himself up for this final one. There we see Antonelli. Oh, and that was just a little bit too wide coming out of Niki Lauda curve. Very easily done. Okay, last chances then. Currently your top 5. What would be the top 10? Would be Kamara, Tramnitz, Belov, Antonelli, Megatunov. Those would be the 5 drivers who would start in the top 10 positions from this group. But that could all change very quickly. We're seeing Antonelli is improving. This wouldn't be the best of sessions by his very high standards and could open up a gap for Stenchon going out in the next group. Antonelli needs to improve on this lap, really. Kamara, this is a great job for him. Going along really well so far is Kamara, looking to try and get what would be his second pole position of the season. Someone ran wide in the background as well. Kicking up a lot of dust there. Was that Kamara? Because he's backing off now, possibly, as he is now aborted that lap. I think that might have been him. So Kamara running wide, unfortunately. Are we going to see any improvement? So Antonelli is improving. He's gone purple through the second sector as well. This is looking good for Antonelli. Coming out now through the final corner. Kamara going wide. Antonelli has a chance here to potentially steal pole right at the end, up to the line. P3 for Kimi Antonelli. That will do for him. I think he'll take that around here. Good lap in the end from the young Italian. Are we going to see anyone else improve? I don't think so. I think that might be that in terms of this qualifying session. So Kamara it is who takes provisional pole position for now. We still have another group to come out, of course, but the time to beat set by Kamara, a 1:26.128. And that will be the time that the others are chasing. That is a very, very quick time. The quickest time we saw last year was a 1:26 flat. That came on the Sunday. Great driving from Rafa Kamara. Jumps out the car, and now for him, it's a case of watching on. Took pole position back at Spa. Looking to add to that and get what would be his second pole position of the season. Well done. Either way, he's going to start on the front row. He'll have a clear view going up towards the first corner. Rafa Kamara currently sitting 5th in the championship so far. Didn't have the best of last rounds. Only took 4 points away from it with an 8th place in the first race. He'll take that one, though. Here is the result overall. Prema Racing and Rafa Kamara leading the way. Took a pole position and a podium here last year in Italian F4, so he's used to being in that position around this circuit. Tim Tramnitz 2nd, Kimi Antonelli 3rd, Belov in 4th, then Megatunov, Capietto, David, Cadascado Jr. Well done to him. That's a really impressive performance from the Van Amersfoort driver. P8 on his debut. Dirksen in 9th, then Van Hoopen, Amand, Verg, Fittipaldi Jr., Tangavello, Maschio. Remember, this is what row of the grid they will start on. Pierre Alexandre Provost towards the back of the field. So the 5 drivers on the front 5 rows from that session Kamara, Tramnitz, Antonelli, Belov, Megatunov, Capietto just missing out on what will be a top 10 overall. David in 7th place, so row 7 for him. He'll be trying to fire his way through the field. Cadiscada, the top of the rookies, and then the likes of Armand, Verg, Fittipaldi Jr., 3 rookies will all be starting within reach of each other. Fans here at the Red Bull Ring watching on as we get ready to welcome Group B out onto the circuit. So in this one, we are going to have the drivers 2nd, 4th, 6th in the championship, so on, out there on circuit. So we will have Martinius Stenchorn as we see Rafa Kamara jumping out the car, walking over to the pit wall to celebrate that performance with the team. Was quickest in the first collective test yesterday, so he's been on it this weekend, it has to be said. Led the way with a 126.4 in that first collective test, and it seems Prema Racing turned their attention to more of the long distance stuff in the second collective test as they were down the field. But when they appeared to be going for hot laps in that first collective test, he was quickest, and as I said, he did take pole position when Italian F4 were here last year and took a podium with that as well. You can see Kimi Antonelli in the middle of frame in a red Prema Racing suit, walking away from his car as well. Many talking about his future in recent weeks, but for now, his focus will be on trying to win this championship, and he doing a good job there to get himself on the front 3 rows of the grid. Now, Group B go out. Time to be 126.128. In this session, we will have Martinius Stenchorn for RHGP in the 34, 2nd in the championship, of course. Kaz Havakor, who won here last year, he's out there for Van Amersfoort Racing in the 27. Santiago Ramos for RPM, who's doing a really superb job. It has to be said, this season has been incredibly consistent so far, constantly getting in the points. He's barely been out of it so far this season, the Mexican driver. Lorenzo Flusha, someone who wants to get himself really back in the points now if he can. He's not been in it as frequently as he would have liked in the last 2 or 3 rounds. Alessandro Giusti won at Paul Ricard from pole position. There he is in the 3 in the black and white G4 racing car. He will be flying with confidence despite the break after that result. Nikhil Bora, someone who would have welcomed the break after just a bit of a bad run, really. Had a great start to the season and hasn't really been able to repeat that since the first 2 rounds. So let's see what he can do. He looked pretty quick in testing. Victor Bernier is in the 26 for MP Motorsport, looked very quick throughout testing. Esteban Masson, he also looked quick. He's there in the number 19 in the blue and white Santilot car. Was in the top 10 in both sessions, so keep an eye out for Esteban. Matteo Zagazzetta, a happy birthday to him for yesterday. Celebrated his birthday yesterday. The number 88 driver for RHGP. Let's see what he can do in these last few rounds. Roman Belinsky is out there in the number 4, the Polish driver for Trident. And we have Levi Revesh in the number 11 Arden Motorsport car, his teammate Tom Lebon, who's actually here with Zach O'Sullivan, the FIA Formula 3 vice champion. Niels Kolon is out there in the 68, and Ivan Klemenko, the Ukrainian driver, is in the 23. Then we welcome Brunel Del Pino. He's been welcomed with both arms over at MP Motorsport. He's in the 14. Let's see what he can do. William Carlson is out there in the 55 for KIC Motorsport. Well, we did a few laps, didn't we? We got near 10 minutes to go, if my memory's correct, before we really started. About 9.5 minutes to go, wasn't it, before the real flying laps came in. So a little bit of time, and I think that's gives us time to go through where we will be throughout the rest of the season. 4 rounds to go, like I said, and they come fairly thick and fast now. We start here at the Red Bull Ring Then next weekend we will be at Monza. What a superb round that's going to be. Some fantastic feeder series races there just a week ago. Very excited to see Frecker going back there. Always delivers exciting races. Then a bit of a break, and on the 14th and 15th of October we head to Zandvoort, where we will be supporting the GT World Challenge. It's going to be a brilliant weekend up there. And then one I am very excited for, the last round of the season on the 21st, 22nd of October, where we will officially crown our Drivers' Rookie Teams Champions. That will be at Hockenheim in Germany. We will be there with the DTM guys. It's going to be a brilliant weekend. Remember, commentating on the Formula Renault Euro Cup there in 2019 and 2020. What fantastic races they were. Seeing a driver called Oscar Piastri fighting for the title in 2019 in what was a superb race. So be sure to tune in for that one. A brilliant venue to end what is going to be a brilliant end to the season, I'm sure. And with the way that Martinius Stenchorn has been driving, the Norwegian, I'm sure, will be looking to take this to the wire, as will Kimi Antonelli. Do not count out Tim Tramnitz as well. He's only about 40 points back, 41 to be exact. It's turning into a three-way fight in terms of the championship. Oh, there is Stenchorn trying to get himself lined up. And Red Bull Ring, this is a venue that always welcomes exciting races, unpredictable races, I think is the best phrase, really. 4 different winners in 4 races so far. Let's see if that continues going into this weekend. Cas Habicourt will certainly hope that isn't the case. Hadrian David likewise. Franco Colapinto and Gregoire Saucy, the other 2 winners. And 4 different teams have won as well, in Van Amersfoort, R-Race GP, MP Motorsport, ART. Kramer will be hoping to make that 5 different teams, as will the others as well. The likes of Monolith with Hadrian David, Trident, G4, all of them will want to go out there. Arden as well. It's going to be a brilliant weekend. Are we going to find ourselves with yet more new teams out there? Santalot with Esteban Masson. What about them as well? RPM. Don't count those guys out either. It's going to be, I think, plenty of teams out there all up for grabs. Now, it looks like we're going for a rolling start here, doesn't it? What you see in kart racing, 2x2, round turn 5. Look at that. Just a bit bunched up. Rolling start stuff going on in qualifying. No one wants to go first. It's a bit after you, no after you, no after you, please. And Lorenzo Flusha has found himself leading the biggest queue. I mean, his mirrors are going to be full. And he doesn't really know what to do now. I don't think he's slowing the pace right down. Everyone wants a tow. We're getting ready to go for the first flying laps. There is William Carlson. Welcome to, in fact, that's Bruno Del Pino, sorry. Welcome to the championship. Having none of it out front, I think that's Tom Lebon. I think he's just got his foot down and gone for it out front. Giusti next, then Masson. Then after that comes the number 65 of Santiago Ramos as they come up towards the line to start a lap. It looks like eventually they've sorted themselves out. Great camera angle this as they come uphill. Gives you an idea of just how steep that climb is. One of the MP cars there getting a little bit out of shape under braking. Everyone in the end finding themselves, I think, the relative space they need. Oh, Esteban Masson coming in just fractionally too deep, maybe, into that corner. Leading the way, Tom Lebon, the British driver, was out racing GT4 cars at Hockenheim last weekend with his old team, Elite Motorsport, who he raced with in both Ginettas and GB3. Really enjoyed the experience. Good to get himself back behind the wheel as well before this weekend and before we go and visit the circuit ourselves a little bit later in the year. Here he comes, up through turn 8 and down to the final 2 corners. He will be the first one to put a real time on the board. 1:26.128, the time we're aiming for. Here's Alessandro Giusti, winner last time out. Esteban Masson next, doing a great job over in the Euro Cup 3 Championship as well, leading the way in that. Let's see if he can lead the way in this. Over the line, Giusti goes quickest there with a 1:27.5, 1:27.3 for Masson. We'll expect those to tumble down throughout the session, and Kaz Havercourt brings it down to a 1:27.177. He's quickest so far. Masson in second, Ramos third, Giusti fourth, Flusha fifth. Then we have Belinsky sixth, Zagazeta in 7th place, Revesh in 8th, Lebon in 9th, Nikhil Bora in 10th. Let's have a look here at Lorenzo Flusha. Oh, you can see just going in a little bit too hot there into the first corner, that looked like. And hence he finds himself 5th and 6/10 off this man here so far. Still a way to go in this session though. And it was not until the last few minutes, last 2 or 3 minutes, we really saw the times coming in that eventually set the order, as usually happens in a qualifying session. Santiago Ramos now round turn 7 and 8. He's going very well on this lap, the young Mexican driver. Up towards the final 2 corners. 1:27.4 is his best time so far. In towards the final corner now. Santiago Ramos up towards the start-finish line. Let's see what he can do on this lap. Can he get in the 1:26s? Yes, 1:26.9. Giusti's done a 1:26.8. Then in 3rd place, it's 1:26.9 for Havercourt. 0.06 of a second between the top 3 drivers. Incredibly close out there. Esteban, in fact, make that the top 4. Esteban Masson, a 1:26.942. 0.06 between the top 4 drivers. Giusti, Ramos, Havercourt, Masson. Victor Bernier then, the best of the rest, in 5th place. He was quickest through the final sector. Flusha in 6th, that's much better from him. Zagazeta 7th. Stenchorn all the way down in 8th. We're yet to see the Norwegian driver put in a respectable time by his standards so far. Revesh next, then Lebon, Colon, Belinsky, Carlson, Klimenko, Del Pino and Bora. Giusti absolutely flying on this lap, isn't he? He's gone quickest through the first sector. That purple segment means that is the quickest first sector. Someone just slowing up to give themselves some space. As Esteban Masson now goes quicker. Giusti must have had a mistake somewhere, because it says he's backing off, but he still looks like he's going very quickly to me. Up towards the final 2 corners he comes down, maybe backed off somewhere. Esteban Masson certainly isn't. Some drivers are just giving their tyres a bit of a breather, but Esteban Masson is not doing that. Let's see what he does. Up towards the line he comes now, and he goes to the top. 1:26.6 for Esteban Masson. There comes the Peruvian driver of Zagazeta through the final corner. He is currently in P7 so far. Make that 8th as Nikhil Bora now goes up to 2nd. Great time from the Trident driver. Nikhil Bora, 2nd place, 1:26.7. So it's Masson, Bora, Giusti, Ramos, Havercourt, Belinsky, Bernier, Flusha, Zagazeta and Stenchorn. There's Giusti now, getting ready for another flyer. Stenchorn down in P10, not good for his championship at all. Really needs to improve. And he is improving on this lap. He's done a good first sector. I'll keep one eye on the times of Martinez Stenchorn for you. Nikhil Bora improving as well. This is really good stuff from Nikhil. Similar to the form we saw right at the start of the season. There's Masson down through turn 7, leading the way in this session so far. Oh no, that's the number 23 of Klimenko, who has had a spin. Could that be the end of the session, I wonder, or is he in a escape road? Possibly. Will go on as if there's no yellow flag, so he must be in a safe place. As Stenchorn has improved through the 2nd sector as well. I think he might be going up towards the top. Belinsky's on fire as well. He's quickest through the 2nd sector across the line. That's going to be Masson going to the top, but he's beaten immediately by Giusti, who goes quickest. Flusha was up to 3rd place. now up towards the line. You can see Ramos is P2, Havercourt is up to the top of the times. Ramos second, Giusti third, then there goes Bielinski. Now he's in P3. Great driving from Roman. He does a 1:26.6. Doesn't look like we're beating the times of Rafa Kamara. It seems he's on for a second pole, but who will join him on the front row of the grid? This man here seems to be the one to do it so far. Oh, that's what happened to the Ukrainian Klemenko. And good driving, got himself in an escape road to let the session continue and get himself in a safe place. Oh, that's what happened. Wow, that's a strange one. Just a suspension failure, it seems, there, coming through the first corner as he hit the curb. Masson, that is, slowing down to get himself from space, going onto the final lap. Havercourt's doing the same. Is anyone improving on this lap? Doesn't look like anyone's pushing through the first two sectors. I think everyone is really setting themselves up for a final fly. Maybe Giusti actually might be one to watch on this one. He looks like he's improving. Currently, well, he was down in P4. He is now leading the way in the session. Giusti goes to the top, 1:26.359. So that is a provisional pole position for Giusti. Provisional pole position in this session, but he would be second overall. Havercourt in second, Ramos in third. Final flying laps coming up now. 1:26.128 is the time to beat of Rafa Kamara. If you're quickest though, you will be joining him on the front row no matter what your time is. And quickest through the first sector is Victor Bernier from MP Motorsport in the number 26. He's absolutely flying. Havercourt now goes quickest through the first sector. There you can see Victor Bernier. He's the quickest car on circuit. Who else is improving? We've also got improving Tom Lebon, Levi Revesh was in, Bruno Del Pino, sorry, is improving. Revesh has taken the flag, it seems. Nils Colon is improving as well. So is Alessandro Giusti. We watch Havercourt coming up through 7 now. Quickest second sector. Bernier still improving. A moment there for Kaz. Just got a swapper on coming out of 7. Now into the final 2 corners. Will we see any major improvements? Victor Bernier is the car following him, just behind, up to the line. Here comes Giusti. Stays at the top for the time being, but can he be challenged? Lorenzo Flusha jumps up to P2. Great driving from him, but he's beaten immediately by Kaz Havercourt. What about Victor Bernier? He stays in P5. Esteban Masson is next to come over. What does he do? He's currently in P7, and it doesn't look like he's going to improve. So quickest in the qualifying Group B is Alessandro Giusti. He sets a 1:26.359, and he will join Rafa Kamara on the front row. P2 overall for Giusti, P1 in group. Great driving from the young Frenchman there. Got first and 5th in qualifying last time now at Paul Ricard, and he's continuing. That's 3 top 5 finishes in a row overall for Alessandro Giusti. He is a man on form, and he will be on the outside of the front row with Rafa Kamara on pole. This will be how the outside rows of the grid starts. Giusti will be P2 overall. Havercourt will be on the outside of row 2. Lorenzo Flusha, row 3, he'll take that. 4th place in the group was Santiago Ramos. Victor Bernier will complete the top 10 overall when the groups are combined. Roman Bielinski just outside in P6. Then Esteban Masson 7th in group. Nikhil Bora 8th. Tom Lebon 9th. Martinius Stenshorn all the way down in 10th. He will be 20th on the grid overall, with his championship rival up in the top 5 positions. That's not good at all for Stenshorn. After that was Zagazzetta, Bruno Del Pino, Levi Revesh, Nils Colon, William Carlson, and Ivan Klemenko, who had that suspension damage coming out of the first corner and pulled over with a few minutes to go. So that's all for qualifying. The grid is now set. Make sure you join us at 5:05 local time here at the Red Bull Ring for the first race of the weekend. We'll see you then.